Merry Meet Annie here. I am helping out Kara tonight, who has found herself a bit submerged in university responsibilities and wants to make a video but is not able to find the time this evening. So I'm quite glad to help her out. But Kara, we miss you, and we hope that your schedule will ease off just enough for you to be sharing your thoughts of this again. If I understand right from Mo's video yesterday, Gaia had posed a question for us, which is it ethical for pagans to visit churches and cathedrals? Now, I think from Mo's video that I'm guessing that it wasn't about attending religious services, it was about visiting in the sense of sightseeing, stopping in, that kind of thing. I dislike it when I ask a question and somebody answers with a question, but if the question is it ethical for pagans to visit churches and cathedrals? I answer with the question, what would be unethical about that? I can't think of anything. The only thing I can think of is it would be unethical if one entered in disrespect, not honoring the energy of that place and what it meant to those who built it and those who were practicing their religion in it. Other than that, I personally have only ever had the most positive of experiences visiting churches and cathedrals and temples and mosques. I have only ever had beautiful experiences. The sense of history, the fascination of the architecture and the art, music, if there's music playing, just the beauty of the environment, and who can't not like candles and incense? I've just always had the most positive experiences, and when I step into those older sacred buildings, it feels in a way like when you step into Circle, when you feel you're stepping outside of time and place, if you're open to it taking you there. I'm thinking especially that it wasn't too awfully long before 9/11 that pagan friends and I visited Trinity Church in New York City. And it couldn't have been a more beautiful day. And it was beautiful and peaceful, and the guides who were there to assist you stayed back until you asked them questions, and then they were so full of such interesting information. And the cemetery was just, the graveyard, so beautiful and so peaceful. It was quite a moving experience, that peaceful spot in the midst of the hubbub of New York City. And it wasn't too terribly long later that the TV was filled with the images of that church and that graveyard covered in the ash after the buildings came down. Very moving to remember what it felt like to be there and to see those pictures later. It just seems to me that something happens when people continually gather in a place. Now, we may not believe in, or we could even outright disagree with, the religious dogma of that particular religion. But I have found that there's almost always some sense of peace and, I want to say, wisdom, or that kind of wisdom of the ages kind of thing. Sometimes the church could be built on ground which is already sacred to we pagans. It doesn't happen as much here in the States, although indeed there are some still built on sacred sites or ley lines. Overseas, I can imagine that would be that much more powerful. I would just never pass up the opportunity. These are beautiful structures, and the energy within them and the peace within them, and I've had nothing but positive experiences. And the only thing negative I can think that would be wrong about it would be entering a sacred place like that has such meaning to the participants of that religion if you entered in less than respect. I guess that's the only thing I could think that would be unethical about it. So there's my thoughts on that. And they just stem from my own experiences, which has been nothing but peace and beauty and meeting interesting people and being immersed in culture, if not the religion, the culture that built the building, that designed it, the art. Just a wonderful, positive experience every time I've experienced one of these older buildings. There's my thoughts on that. And Gaia, if I'm not addressing the question that you ask, please just put a note as a response, and I'll definitely do a video reply to make sure I update my answer. But for me, every opportunity to explore history in this way has brought me nothing but peace and a feeling of quiet. So it's been a good experience for me. As always, I wish you mirth and reverence. Mary Part.